Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And welcome back to the channel that takes power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we're talking about the spell Firestorm. We're giving this one a B, just for a couple reasons. It's not the greatest spell in the world. It's not the worst spell in the world. But we're giving it a B. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right. So it is a 7th level spell that is usable by clerics, druids, and sorcerers. It is probably one of the better damage dealing spells, area of effect damage dealing spells for clerics and druids at this level. There's not a lot of options at this level. I have had one of my players tell me that they're interested to get my take on some 7th level spells, particularly ones for clerics, because he didn't think that the 7th level spells for clerics were fantastic. There haven't been a lot of them. So this one is a 1 action casting time. It does have a range of 150 feet, which is pretty good. That's a good one. Verbal and somatic, so no material component. That's good. And it's instantaneous. So a storm made up of sheets of roaring flame appears in a location you choose within range. The area of the storm consists of up to 10 10-foot cubes, which you can arrange as you wish. Each cube must have at least one face adjacent to the face of another cube. So the corners can't touch, the faces have to touch. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. Dex is pretty good. We have ways of getting around dexterity saves. There are more ways to get around dex saves than, say, strength or constitution saves. So, it takes 7d10 fire damage on a failed save. How much is 7d10 fire damage? On average, that is 38.5 damage. So, it's okay damage. It's not great. It's more than Fireball. It's not as much as, say, Disintegrate or a Finger of Death, which are both single targets. So they take half as much on a successful save. The fire damages objects in the area and ignites flammable objects that are not worn or carried. Of course, this is, we all know that if we're carrying a very brittle papyrus scroll, that it is immune to flame. It will not burst into flames no matter what happens, no matter how hot it is, no matter what, because in D&D 5th edition, all things that are worn or carried are invulnerable to flame. So if you choose, plant life in the area is unaffected by this spell. This is kind of a carryover from some past editions. They left that in here. So, it's a standard, let's do some damage spell. There are some options for this that were in previous editions that were taken away. And we're going to look at the way that this spell was worded in previous editions. It's very similar. It's very, very similar. So one of the bad things about a dex save, especially one that is save or take half damage, is evasion. So, a rogue can get around this. You've got a ring of evasion. You will make your saving throw automatically. It's not usable by wizards, so it's going to be hard to get an evocation wizard to be able to take advantage of this. So we do have 3 classes, but first, before we do that, let's look at the 1st edition spell. So this is the Firestorm that comes from my Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook that I bought myself in 1979. So it was a 7th level spell back then. It had a range of 16 inches. So an inch effectively was 10 feet. Remember, things were done in inches because that was a war game scale at the time. It had a duration of 1 round. And then it had an area of effect. So they were 2-inch cubes, minimum of a 16-inch cube, and so on and so forth. So save for half. So when a Firestorm is cast by a druid, this was a druid spell, a whole area is shot through with sheets of roaring flame, which are equal to a wall of fire. In effect, creatures within the area of fire and 1 inch or less from the edge of the area receive 2 to 16 points of damage plus additional hit point equal to the number of levels of experience of the druid, unless they make their save, in which case they only take half. So if you had a 14th level druid, this would on average do about 9 points of damage plus 14, so 23 points of damage. And then you could increase the range of it, essentially the area. There was a reverse spell because a lot of spells could be reversed in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and it was called Fire Quench. You smother out fire equal to the area of the spell. That is not in this one, and the plant thing's not in this one either. Now let's look at Firestorm from 3rd edition. So this is from my 3.5 Player's Handbook. So again, it's a 8th level cleric spell, a druid 7th level, and a fire. That fire meant sorcerer. So sorcerer, fire, 7th level spell. You had to be specialized in fire as a sorcerer, and it's a reflex for half at that time, which would have been dexterity. And it's 2 10-foot cubes per level, so they had went to the 10-foot and 5-foot space. When you cast it, Raging Flames do not harm natural vegetation, so you don't have a choice. With the 5th edition spell, you have a choice. Any creature within the area takes a d6 of fire damage per caster level, up to 20 d6, which could do quite a bit of damage. So there are some similarities and differences in this spell. It depends on the edition that we're using. Okay, so for druids, I actually like the Circle of the Stars druid, and particularly because of the Wheel and Woe ability, and particularly because of the Woe ability. So whenever you finish a long rest, consult your star map. When you do so, roll a die until you finish your next long rest. You gain access to a special reaction based on whether you rolled an even or an odd number. And the odd number you can subtract from somebody's saving throw. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all uses expended on a long rest. So really great. I think that's a great addition to it. You can penalize somebody. The Wildfire one gets a little bit of a bump with the enhanced bonds. Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points, you roll a d8, and you gain a bonus equal to the number rolled to 1 die of damage. That's not fantastic. And that's a 6th level ability. That's not great. For clerics, I guess Light Domain would be okay. It flavor-wise, it fits. They don't really have anything that is going to enhance this spell. For sorcerers, I like Wild Magic because of Bend Luck. You can subtract from somebody's saving throw with that. And finally, for the sorcerer, there's a few things that you could use in this Empower spell, Distance spell. You can add some damage or re-roll some dice, so it'll change the average a bit and make it a little bit higher. You can heighten it to cast it as a bonus action, you could heighten it to give one thing a disadvantage on a saving throw. You can quicken it to cast it as a bonus action. So there's a few things you can do to enhance this spell, but overall, it's just a straight damage spell. It's a carryover from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons all the way back in 1979 till today. A lot of these spells they tried to carry over and keep the flavor of the spell, but it's not. I mean, this was never really a powerful spell to begin with, even in 1st edition. 3rd edition was a little different because it was up to 20 d6. You could do a little bit more with some meta magic stuff, but overall, it's maintained about the same power level. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.